Opportunity come out channel social so I'm say AGH politics avenue. On your podcast or said trending make headlines ne jembre na EDB exum woni dem ya ho braximu. Best talk say yanko political highways nim ejadema onua enye asem koto akra na yebo ewra eye same jamfi aso eye. Onua watimi expose eye NPP amayukuru based on eye Bank of Ghana X eye 2025 financial statement onua watimi amaye in-depth financial analysis ehu ebehia se me no mienu ehu ne yekọ ene de ba yensemre yemonwura eye sam jamfi aso eye abra waje mre with Alfred Okansi ewo eye Ghana Today eso onua enya asem koto akra hye no so am say say AGH the key point about your pardon ewo TV3 how say AGH politics avenue yembo enwura eye insimfoni.
Good, and you make gains, don't add it to your profit and loss. That is what they are telling you.
The point that if you were using the same procedure in between 2022 and 2024, you wouldn't have incurred this particular loss. They don't on the books.
They don't understand what they are saying. I'll come to the gold losses, but I want us to go back a bit. I'll come to that. You see, first of all, to appreciate this discussion, you need to put the issues in the right perspective. You need to know where we are coming from. I've read. And I need your attention. What was the state of the economy that the NDC government, the Mahama government, the Johnson, Esiama-led BOG, the Atto-Forson-led Ministry of Finance inherited from the NPP on 7 January 2025? Alfred, that is, you see, we need to remind ourselves and not take stock of where we are, and then we can appreciate this discussion of losses. For me, that is a starting point. We took over an economy where the cedi in 2024 depreciated by 19%. In 2022, let me go 3 years back and give you a trajectory. The cedi depreciated by 30%. In 2023, the cedi depreciated by 27.8%. In 2024, the cedi depreciated by 19%. In the retail dollar cash market, you needed 16 cedis to get $1. At the interbank level, as of December 2024, you needed 14.75 pesos, 75 pesos to get $1. The Ghana cedi was one of the worst performing currencies in the world by 2022, 2023, 2024. Worst performing currencies in the world. Inflation, which is one of the biggest regressive taxes in any economy, because it erodes disproportionately the incomes of our households and affects the poor even more than it affects the rich. Inflation was 54% in 2022. By December 2022, inflation came to 23.2 in 2023, and by 2024 went up to 23.8 inflation. Food inflation, by the time we came into office, food inflation. And when we talk about inflation, we are talking about the rate of increase in general price level of goods and services over time. And here I'm talking about 1 year. Food inflation was 27% when we came into office. Lending rates, the average lending rate that banks will lend money to a business was over 30%. Are you listening? Debt, our public debt had ballooned from 120 billion cedis in 2016 to 726 billion by December 2024. 726 billion. Debt to GDP from 2022 was over 100%. That is how come the whole country became bankrupt, debt insolvent. And we had to appropriate the monies of people who had lent to government, including pensioners, through what they called domestic debt exchange program. Do you remember that? And by the time the NPP was leaving office, debt to GDP was 61%. Our credit rating was junk baller economy. This is the economic mess we inherited. An economy in tatters. When we took office, President Mahama said, we knew the problem. We promised to fix it. It is not time to lament. We promised a reset. Let's reset the economy. And in just 1 year, 1 year of this reset agenda, we have delivered the most remarkable, the most outstanding economic turnarounds ever recorded by any country, okay, in history. You're talking about in just 1 year, The currency that had depreciated over the last 3 years, 2022, 2023, 2024, by cumulatively 77%. Now NDC comes, and in 2025, the currency appreciates by 41%.
Which the Bank of Ghana had to pay the price for.
The Bank of Ghana is the one managing the currency. So they are the pivots. So when we say CD, now if you're a businessman and you're looking for dollars, and under the NPP at the interbank level, $10,000 would have cost you 140,750, or maybe 140,000 thereabout, because the dollar was 14.7.
As of December.
So as of December 2025, you will 10.45, 100,400 and something. You will get it. You're saving about 43,000 cedis on $10,000. Multiply that by the millions, and look at the relief that has provided to BDCs who bring in oil products, businesses who bring in sugar, who bring in rice. Look at the relief. Who did that work? Central Bank of Ghana. Okay? So the cedi that was depreciating for 3 years, cumulatively 77%, now appreciate 41%. First time in decades, many decades. The cedi that was the worst performing currency in the world, one of the worst, now becomes one of the best performing currencies in the world. The talk of town, being celebrated across the globe. The best performing currency in Africa. Inflation rate that was 23.8%. Now declines for 15 consecutive months. In 2025, 12 consecutive months to 3.4%. In fact, 5.4%. Now 3.4%. But as of December 2025, 5.4% inflation. Food inflation moves from 27% to 4.9%. Lending rate that was over 30% now comes to below 20%. Are you listening to this? The public debt reduces from 726 billion in 1 year to 641 billion by December 2025. A reduction of 85 billion in the public debt. Why? Because the cedi has appreciated. And so the foreign component, the dollar part of the debt has come down. Who did the work? Central Bank. Are you listening to this? Debt to GDP from 61% to 45%. Our credit rating that was baller, junk, rated RD, restricted default. Now it's rated what? Only yesterday, B, with a positive outlook. When in your lifetime did you remember Ghana's economy being rated B? Are you telling me that the central bank that was the main pivot for achieving this economic turnaround, one of the main pivots, should have delivered this outstanding, remarkable economic turnaround without incurring costs? And that this turnaround should have been free.
And all of this, is this what? Is enough justification for the
It's not about justification.
We've seen
it's not about justification.
Because the minority holds the view that
let's not be
stability in numbers does not mean the stability in lives.
Go and tell that to the businessman who needed 16 Ghana cedis in the retail market for $1. And by December 2025, with 11 cedis in that same retail market, he could get $1. So on every dollar, he was being saved what? 50 pesos in the retail market. Go and tell that person that this stability is a stability of numbers, not reality. What are they saying? Imagine, you that are watching me, imagine what would have been the state of your life if the dollar today was 16 cedis. The cedi to dollar was 16 cedis. What would have been the price of fuel? What would have been utility prices? What would have been the price of food? You see, sometimes we forget the unlived experience. If the cedi was depreciating under NDC within this 1 year, like it depreciated under the NPP, maybe the dollar would have hit 20 cedis. What would have been the impact on households and on livelihoods for an economy where over 90% of the things you find in the market are imported? What would have been the impact? So let's not even go there. But the question, I don't want to be argumentative because we are educating Kenyans. The question I want to ask is that in delivering this outstanding economic turnaround that nobody can debate, should there have been no cost? Let's be objective. Put your NPP or your NDC aside. Should there have been no cost? There will obviously be a cost. There is a cost to everything. And who has to pay the cost for all of us to enjoy is the Central Bank of Ghana. Because even though their financial health as a central bank is very important to their sustainability, For them, they choose their core mandate, a constitutional mandate of price stability. And the financial stability, they prioritize that over their own books. You understand? Now, when you hear that an institution has made a loss, Alfred, the first thing you must do is to look at the profit and loss statement of the institution. And here I'll be very happy if they can put page 15 of the financial statement of the Bank of Ghana on the street, or on the screen. And let's disaggregate this loss. And I want to do that with you, Alfred, so that you know what has caused this loss. Where is the loss coming from? And is this loss because somebody has mismanaged the Bank of Ghana? It is because somebody has chopped money? Is it because somebody is incompetent? Or it is because of the outstanding economic turnaround we have achieved and the painful but necessary actions that had to be taken to achieve that economic turnaround? Alfred, when you look at the profit and loss statement of the Bank of Ghana, which is recorded on page 15 of the P&L statement, you realize that there are three major operating expenses of the Bank of Ghana, three major operating expenses of the Bank of Ghana that raised their operating expenditure to 37.9 billion and therefore caused their operating loss of 15.6 billion. These three major operating expenses are as follows. Cost of open market operation, which I've already explained. The interest the Bank of Ghana pays when they borrow from commercial banks. Mainly, that is what it is. Okay? Which is 16.7 billion Ghana cedis. 16.7 billion. Then, number two, you have net loss on gold dues. 9 billion Ghana cedis. Then you have revaluation loss or gain and exchange differences. 5.4 billion Ghana cedis. These are the three biggest expenditure items. So let's take them one by one. Three biggest expenditure items. Okay?
Yes.
I'm not there. I'm not there. Let's not this one. Go to you are in the OCI. Go to the P&L. The P&L. This is the other comprehensive income. You have to go to the profit and loss. Good. That is where you are. So check. Look at the first item. Cost of open market operation 16.7. Then you see exchange differences. 5.4 billion, revaluation loss and gain and exchange differences, 5.4 billion.
There's the 5 billion,
5.4 billion. Yes,
million,
exactly.
44.
Then you see net loss on gold deals, 9 billion. Those are the three biggest. Now let's start with the revaluation loss. I've already explained it, but let me emphasize. When we say revaluation loss, what does it mean? It means that the Bank of Ghana has foreign denominated assets, like investments with their banks in dollars or foreign currency, which must be recorded in their financial statements in cedis. And so when the dollar to CD rate measured by the Bank of Ghana reference rate is high, like it was in 2024, 14.75, but in less than 1 year, that rate comes to 10.45 by December 2025, the bank suffers a loss. And that portion of the loss which was realized, actually incurred, is 5.4 billion.
And so, this is as a result of the
appreciation of the cedi that has brought relief to households, businesses, and Ghanaians.
That's the price that the central bank had to pay for the increase.
So when we were all happy, and Bongo Ideas and all these bloggers on social media were clapping, Addo is forcing, everybody is happy, President Mahama is doing well, dollar is going down, cedi is going up, the cedi is becoming stronger. The Bank of Ghana will suffer losses because they have investment in dollars that when it is converted into cedis, now they have to multiply by 10.5 instead of the 14.75. So this loss, Alfred, is it because of mismanagement? Answer me.
I mean, the evidence.
Is it because of incompetence? Is it because somebody has printed money for the government like it happened under Addison the printer? Is it because of that? When they printed 44.5 billion cedis, for the NPP government in 2022, they wasted the money, they couldn't pay, and they gave the Bank of Ghana a 50% haircut. Is it the same? We are done with revaluation loss of 5.4 billion. Let's go to sterilization. You print money, so much money for the central government. Under the NPP, 2022 alone, 44.5 billion. The Bank of Ghana admitted it. You can Google, you see the stories. When you do that, what was when they did that, what was the results, Alfred? And I need your attention, Alfred, please. The results was that inflation rose to 54%, hyper levels. And they were only able to bring it to 23.8%. Are you listening to me? And for 1 year, inflation stood at 23.2 for 2023 to only 23.8 in 1 year. Oh, you should have used dynamic cash reserve ratio, which we, the NPP, introduced. You had all these ideas, yet from 2023 to 2024, inflation moved from 23.2 to 23.8. What was the impact of those ideas that you claim or you say that this leadership of the Bank of Ghana should have continued? So the Bank of Ghana comes and money supply is in excess. Excess liquidity in the market, inflation is high. We need to do the heavy lifting and bring inflation down. So what do? They need to mop up the excess liquidity. So they go to the commercial banks who have this excess liquidity, and then they borrow the money, and they pay interest, and the interest they paid, 2024, check the statement again. The interest the Addison-led BOG paid on OMO for 2024 is what you see there, 8.5 billion. The first item, go to the first item, 8.5 billion. That is the cost of sterilization for 2024. So it's not like sterilization is bad. If it was bad, why did you incur 8.5 billion sterilization cost in 2024? But in 2025, because we have to mop more liquidity and bring inflation from hyper levels, 23.8 to 3.4, the cost is double, 16.7.
So over 16.7 billion.
Yes, and so inflation comes down. Food inflation moves from 27% to 4.9%. According to AGRA, food prices reduced by 32% in 2025. 32%. So this sterilization that cost that they incurred, which has led to loss of 16.7 billion, is it because of mismanagement?
And that is one of the highlights of the minority. That look, you didn't have to spend so much sterilizing in open market operations to be able to.
So why did they spend? So why did they spend? Why did they spend 8.5 billion? They say there are better solutions. You don't have to use sterilizer. Why did they incur sterilization cost of 8.5 billion? Why? If sterilization should not be done, why? 8.5 billion, and you gave us inflation of 23.8. Somebody did 16.7 and gave us inflation of 3.4%. Food inflation of 4.9%. And food prices came down by 32%. So what are you saying? Is this the product of mismanagement? Let's go to the last item, gold dues.
That's
Yes, we inherit an economy where we cannot, you see, over the years, Ghana gets dollars for the market, those who need dollars to go and import from three main sources: gold, cocoa, and oil. And we have to, because that is not enough, we have to borrow. So you hear of something called Eurobond. That is government borrowing on the capital market in dollars. Just to get dollars for the market. You have to create debts to get dollars for the market. But we took over an economy where we could not even go on the capital market to borrow. Because the NPP had so borrowed that they could not pay, and we were locked out of the capital market. So you can't get Eurobond to bring dollars in. The IMF money, we got 3 billion every year. You're getting less than $1 billion. Cocoa that would have brought you $2 to $3 billion per annum, cocoa was going down. Oil that will bring you some dollars, oil production is going down, and oil prices were going down. The only thing you had was your gold. And so we said, okay, we inherited domestic gold purchase program, but through the gold board that President Mahama envisioned and promised, let's scale it up so that what has never been done in the history of Ghana, we can do. And we deployed effective aggregation system, license reforms, plug leakages, fought smuggling aggressively. And for the first time, we mop up small-scale gold of over 104 tons. And that performance of the small-scale sector was better than large-scale for the first time in Ghana's history. Small-scale gold alone brought in over $10 billion. Large-scale brought in nothing close to $10 billion. Are you listening to me? Now, to be able to generate these dollars, the Bank of Ghana says there is a price. What is this price? I must buy the gold at the exchange rate at which gold is bought in Ghana. And from the time Ghana became Ghana, our forefathers' time when we started mining gold, till 2025, gold is bought in cedis per pound in Ghana, but when you're calculating the price, you use what exchange rate? Forest Bureau exchange rate. Not black market Forest Bureau. The Forest Bureau exchange rate, what we call the retail rate, is the rate for accessing cash dollars from licensed forest bureaus. It's not a paro rate. So that is the rate PMMC was using to buy gold, and that is the rate Bank of Ghana was using to buy gold through the GOLDBOD in 2025. But when we buy the gold at that forest bureau rate, and the Bank of Ghana got the dollars, the accountant will have to record the dollars in cedis, whether or not the dollar is sold to the market through intermediation, or the dollars is added to the reserves, which means it is not even realized. But it must still be converted into cedis. And in converting it into the cedis by law, Bank of Ghana can only use the BOG rate, which is the interbank rate. And that rate is always lower than the Forest Bureau rate. And you see, in 2024-5, not all the cedi appreciated, and at a point in time, the gap between Forest Bureau rates and Bank of Ghana rate was 1 cedi, sometimes 1 cedi 50 pesos, sometimes 2 cedis.
1 cedi 80 pesos.
So imagine that I am buying gold for the Bank of Ghana at a Forest Bureau of 14 cedis, because that, you can't go and tell a miner that ton gold, mama, may you sue interbank. Or he doesn't know what interbank is. He knows the dollar rate at which, if he wants to buy dollars, he will get dollars from the Forest Bureau. Okay? So he will sell the dollar to you at Forest Bureau rate. But the Bank of Ghana accountants.
We ain't some who team course watching on so I'm not so jembre. That's an so bad in the Domini, Jabesen Asia.